welcome back to Marvel Live from New York Comic Con 2015. I'm Lorraine Sink, host of The Watcher, joined by
Comic Book Girl 19, and we're here with Clark Gregg and Jeph Loeb.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
These two
Trouble.
troublemakers.
Are you quoting the Chloe Bennett pop song? Was that what that was?
It was. It was a little uh-oh.
Oh, don't you feel it? Uh-oh.
Pick it up on
We're doing
iTunes.
this.
I love it.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Somebody tell her right
Lorraine,
now.
16,
You
please.
Google
Take it
Chloe
away.
Bennett for her lifestyle in China.
You guys, congratulations on the new season. It
Thank you.
started so epically. It's so amazing.
Thank you.
We're only 2 episodes in, and you got to join the Luke Skywalker Club. Congratulations.
Am I lucky to join the
I
one-handed
don't
club?
know. I don't
Okay.
know if maybe it's a congratulations.
It's not easy to button a shirt or to do a tie, which is cool because now
Now he doesn't have to wear ties.
I seem to be working very All Saints this year.
Yeah, you have a
That's
great new
hot.
look.
All Saints is great.
It works, yeah, it works for me. Coulson, I've been in a suit for, frankly, a number of years at this point, so it's kind of nice to be rolling a little more casual, even if it's because I can't seem to get myself dressed with the hand. I'm hoping that not being able to get myself dressed will pay off at some point as well.
Have you been doing any physical work with it, or has it been pretty natural? I don't know how it works logistically. for you.
There's
Chopped off his hand.
Wait, how?
This is the really good bionic one that I got. Thank you for
Wow.
this one. There's a number of different versions. When I have to actually remove the amazing prosthetic, there's a version where the rest of my hand goes away, and there's a whole bunch of different versions.
Right.
I didn't want to talk about them, but there's one that's a little bit like an extremely high-tech glove that kind of doesn't. It's really hard to maneuver, and it's very much part of Coulson's journeys this season is trying to figure out how to use this thing and what exactly it can do. And all I can say is at certain points, I think he may be surprised to learn that it's got some effective special tactics.
Ooh,
Sure.
It does draw into the question of just how human are you? I mean, you
yeah.
have
How?
At this point,
alien blood in you,
Alien
you come
blood.
back from the dead.
technically
you have
a zombie,
thing.
though I have no hunger for brains.
Exactly.
I got
Right.
one arm,
Yet.
and
Until the Marvel Zombies, season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes out.
that's a whole different, yeah.
Exactly.
That's another level in the video game, actually.
So
That's awesome.
there's so many threads now going through the show. We have Inhumans. We have this secret group that is butting up against you guys.
The ATCU, run by Rosalind Price, the powerful and amazing Constance Zimmer,
Yeah.
who's more like Coulson than Coulson is in some ways. And while they kind of seem to want to be able to take advantage of the fact that they have intelligence that each other could use, the process of watching these two career spies try to trust each other is comical so far.
Do you think she's going to try to out Coulson?
Oh, she's been out trying to out Coulson.
Can she do
Whether or
it?
not she's successful at that is
It's a long game.
Stick around.
We'll see who wins in the long run.
Now, Jeph, you're working on the season. Can you tease us anything? Can you tell us anything about what's coming up?
As you know, always.
boss.
Tell us some
I want
Marvel
to know
secrets.
too.
The best part of watching the show is that I expect the unexpected. Like just when you think you're comfortable, I think people didn't expect us to, find out where Simmons was and get Simmons back
Right.
in the first 2 episodes. But now, what does that mean? And how does she fit back into all
Right.
of this?
And where was she?
And where the heck was she?
And
And
what's
what
gonna
is she
happen
now?
with Fitz?
And what is she now?
And what's going
And
on
come
with
on.
Fitz?
Are we more falling in love with Fitz
Oh
this
my
season
God!
than ever before?
I've never seen a ship on such choppy seas.
Oh, that is my favorite thing that might have been ever said out loud.
I can't take it anymore. I can't take it.
Should we be shipping you?
With my hand? I don't know. No, it's not. That didn't come out how I meant.
No. We're gonna let that one go.
That's not what I mean.
Okay.
Sorry. I mean, I've got ship me with who? You mean with the
You're
adorable Constance Zimmer?
I mean,
Well,
There are
shipped with
sparks so
everybody.
far, but
Sparks.
where there are sparks, there is sometimes fire.
But are you sleeping with the enemy?
it could be. Boy, it would really seem to represent a lapse in judgment if Coulson were to let those sparks initiate a flaming ship. I don't know.
And then his
someone
ship
else
would
should
go
talk
down.
at this point.
Sense went off with your hand.
I have a question for you, Clark. So you
Go ahead.
started with Iron Man in 2008. Did you
Yes.
ever see your character being this involved in the MCU? I mean, your
That was the
character has
plan.
been immortalized in the comic books. You've been
I can now
voice
say that
acting
Jeph
for
Loeb was
games.
lobbying for that from the
It was
beginning.
always the plan.
Yes.
It was when John Favreau first asked you that we had this whole plan.
Honestly, when my friend who lived down the street, John Favreau, called up and said, "There's this little part, but I know you're a fan. Do you want to come do it?" I didn't expect him to even have a last name ever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until about the 5th or 6th draft of the script that suddenly people referred to him with a last name, and suddenly he was saying he was from the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. And then I started to get a little excited.
He knows his lines.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, what-
it's turned into a crazy.
Well, everyone I
Right.
feel like has just instantly like fallen in love with Agent Coulson. What do you think it is about your character that speaks to everyone? Like, just everyone loves you so much.
Oh, that's so nice. I can certainly introduce you to a number of people who work for a club called Hydra who don't feel that way. I think that the reason it clicks for people is that in this world of people with powers and kind of larger than life, magnificent creatures and semi-human oids, there was this guy in a suit who's clearly very normal in some ways, and they brought him in very stealthily, kind of this annoying, pesky bureaucrat bothering Tony Stark, who turned out to know a shocking amount of secrets. And to me, I think of the scene in Thor when, this destroyer monster is standing there in front of him in the desert, and he's got a bullhorn. He's like, oh my gosh, what are we dealing with now? It's like, what else has this guy seen in his week that this is his reaction to it? And it's just, I think also Joss really drove it all the way home when you went, oh, of course. Phil Coulson's a massive fanboy.
Yeah.
His hands are shaking being next to Steve Rogers, and he can't help himself. In one of the most dangerous moments in Earth's history, he still has to ask to get his card signed.
Yes.
I think that really kind of let him land with the fans in a way, because he's one of them. He's been to some cons in costume,
Yeah.
and it's very reciprocated. I grew up loving Marvel Comics, and I kind of feel thrilled to get to be part of it.
We have so many tweets coming in, just outpouring of love for the show,
Not
for Director
surprising.
Coulson, of course. We have a question. How has it been becoming director? Has it been a big change for you?
Director Loeb will tell you, because he was on set that day. The day that Sam Jackson, Nick Fury was saying, "You're the new director," I almost couldn't talk. I was speechless. I was the
the
color of the red on this shield.
The 10-year-old boy inside of him was jumping up and down.
I was dying.
It was a pretty great moment.
It's a strange, but in Phil Coulson terms, it's a strange adjustment, because he was really always thought of himself as just somebody who got the job done, a soldier. He didn't dream his whole life of someday becoming director. It wasn't what he aspired to. He really liked being a utility player who did what he did, and yet that was thrust upon him. He kind of got given the throne and the crown at a moment when the kingdom had just been washed down the drain. So it was kind of like, oh, this is so cool. Oh, wait, I don't have any guns or cars or anything. Thanks.
Just all the
Nick,
work.
where are you going, brother? And it's really been tricky. It's let him rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D., in a way that he wanted to, with a little bit different. It's one of the great things the writers, Jed, Marissa, and Jeph and Joss, in the beginning, they made him this guy who had towed the company line and kept secrets, and suddenly the biggest, most existential secrets had been kept from him.
Right.
And he spent some time at the end of season 1, especially after the Hydra insurrection. I don't want to keep secrets. Everybody's going to get to know everything. And then suddenly he was the director, and he spent most of last season having people deciding that he was a traitor, losing his mind, and embezzling when he was really just trying to do a favor for Nick Fury and give him a helicarrier that he might need in Act 3 of Ultron.
Right.
So it's a strange position to find himself in. I think the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. is so low-tech and on the run, and Black Ops makes it a little bit more comfortable for him.
And what is it like now sharing that with Daisy, formerly Skye, with Chloe Bennett, of course? You're kind of giving her more power within the ranks to build this team of special powered people.
Yeah, she earned it.
Right.
It's one of the many ways that I really love the way they write this guy, in that he's an interesting kind of leader. I think a good leader, like a good point guard in basketball, everybody suddenly plays better when they're running the show. And everybody kind of rises beyond what they thought they were capable of. And to have this team, the fact that he handpicked this team, and it's, this not terribly physically imposing biotech Scotsman, Gemma Simmons, a hacker
Right.
who had actually been trying to take S.H.I.E.L.D. down. Of course, you add in the very traumatized Agent May. That's the team of kind of outsiders that he picks, and they turn out to be in many ways the perfect building blocks. And then you add in Hunter and Mockingbird and
Oh, yeah.
mechanic Henry Simmons, who's as terrifying a field agent as anyone I've ever seen. I think it's cool the way he's really trying to make all of those people step up, and as you said, most specifically Daisy. And she's, I think he sees the women on his team as the most powerful, or at least as powerful as any of the men. And
Tell
if
us
anything,
more.
if anything, I think he
Yeah.
thinks it's perfectly likely that someone like Daisy really should be running S.H.I.E.L.D. someday.
So planning ahead, planning for the future.
Planning for a
the
future,
future.
yeah. I mean, I hope.
Like a good father.
Well, yeah, but that's hard because I don't. If she does become director of S.H.I.E.L.D. someday, I hope that she doesn't come with the tradition of losing something
No.
vital from
No.
your anatomy.
Yeah.
But I think what's so wonderful about the way that you took on the role does speak to the way that everyone at Marvel as a hero gets their power. In other words, it always comes from loss. It always comes from the idea of a burden. Like, it's Peter Parker who only dreamed of wanting to be popular and then gets bitten by a radioactive spider, and now his whole life is turned upside down.
And doesn't really grasp what that means until
Yeah.
he loses his
Correct.
uncle.
And so the idea of Coulson as the everyman agent, the guy who was there to basically be, as you said, the utility player, now suddenly becomes the boss. It gives that opportunity for the audience to go, oh, well, now what happens? I mean, and how do you actually do that? And what's it going to be like? And what's S.H.I.E.L.D. going to be like? And that's why it keeps turning on itself continually.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I think people really enjoy the show.
Yeah. Speaking of Marvel properties, you get to play with the Inhumans now, which is super fun. I mean, and they're such interesting, weird characters. They could literally be kind of anything. Have you enjoyed getting to play with some of those power dynamics and some of the strange powers that they have?
Well,
in the
we
writer
started
room?
out, our ad campaign in year one was not all heroes are super.
Right.
Our ad campaign this year is Are You Inhuman? So, or as we like to say, except sometimes. And so, again, I think it really speaks to what Marvel does best, which is the metaphor of life, which is that there are so many people out there now who feel disenfranchised, who feel
Yeah.
like they don't fit in, who feel like they don't know whether or not who they are or what they are, and how they compare to other people, and then how people attack them, approach them, feel good about them, any of those things, and then to be able to take that and make that into humanity is something I think they're doing really well.
I mean, I think that was something that was so beautifully done in the very first episode of the season with the introduction of the new Inhuman Joey, to see his sort of struggle as a person say, I don't want to be in hiding anymore.
No, because he had
You
gone
know?
through that
Yeah.
as a gay man and
Right.
and had worked through feeling closeted and then coming out and being and owning who he was, and
Yeah.
that is fine who he was, and then to have to go back into some kind of closet because he's an Inhuman wasn't okay for him.
Yeah.
And it was really one of the ways that he started to get comfortable with what he's doing. As Jeph said, it's when the comics have always been exciting to me, is that you can take on the hottest topics that are out there through the prism of something that's 5 minutes in the future or in an alternate universe. Some people evolve differently. They didn't choose to. They suddenly find that who they are and what they want and what they're capable of is different than what they were what they were taught was okay. And there are those people who want to crush that and get
Right.
rid of that. And there are others, hopefully Phil Coulson is part of this group when the end of the day comes, who think that their difference will only make us stronger and richer as a species.
I love that. I love that so much. We have questions coming in too. People want to know about Dubsmash Wars. Are you beating the heck out of Marvel's Agent Carter? And are you crushing them specifically today?
I don't know the latest tally. We're a little bit ahead. I gotta keep this on perspective. Haley Atwell is the queen of the Smash. She introduced Dubsmash to me when we were doing some press for our shows in London this summer. It was really her baby, and Chloe and I, on a crowded bus in San Diego, decided we wanted to play too. and she was nice enough to get us into a skirmish. She might have gotten a little sadistic with the one she did with Chris Evans, but she flew 3:30 in the morning with James Darcy to Atlanta just to tape that, so I've got to give it up. We love them so much. We've had so much fun doing this. It got a little hairy when Comic-Con was over, and suddenly we were shooting 70
Right.
hours a week and then trying to find a way to paint the wrecking balls black and
Oh my
rig the
gosh.
thing for the wrecking balls. But again, it's one of the fun things about our fans. They asked for more of them, so we did it. We did the death match 3-rounder, and as of the last time I checked this morning, we'd raised $115,000.
That's amazing.
For Stomp Out Bullying at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So any mild hassle that we went through, it's been so worth it, and such a crazy testament to how great Marvel fans are.
Oh, and I know we all love watching them. Where can people find you guys online and beyond?
Hopefully I'll be able to give you a specific link. It's at CrowdRise Dubsmash War. That's where they're all posted. All the old ones are posted, and where for the price of $1, I think you can get a vote in. And from those votes, we're going to draw for a number of prizes. So anyone who's voted is eligible for these. And some lucky pair is going to be flown to LA to hang out, have lunch, hang out with
So
us,
cool.
record a Dubsmash.
What?
That's what we're talking about.
That's awesome. And where can they find you on Twitter?
I'm at Clark Gregg at Twitter. He doesn't do it.
Oh,
He
come
doesn't
on.
do
I'm
the
gonna
Twitter.
do it. Me, I
It's
got
too
enough
hard.
to do.
He's got
You
too many
can-
secrets.
Good for you. Good
Tune
for you.
in on
I let you guys
Tuesday.
handle that.
Tune in on Tuesday for a brand new episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at 9/8 Central. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Lorraine, 16.
We'll see you soon on Marvel Live.